say it together. This is the year. This is the year. This is the year when we all get it right. We beat the kitty cats today. We take care of Pitt. We flick away Raven like an annoying bird, and we sip champagne for the winds of the fall. It is time for Cleveland Browns football. It is time. We've been waiting for a while. There's a lot of anticipation how Watson's going to play today. There's a lot of excitement about this defense. There's a lot of everything going on opening day. Look at Tony's even wearing a hat today.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Camino, what is your big storyline? I think the biggest one is Watson, but what is your big storyline heading into this game?
It's really just looking at that defensive line personally. I think the big storyline in terms of like what you're getting hyped up about, I'd say it's Deshaun and it's that quarterback room. But in terms of what I'm looking for, I'm looking at that D line mainly.
Yeah, I think the defensive line, I've said this many times, so it's repetitive for people who are going to hear it. I think defense is going to go off too, Chase. In my 44 years, I don't remember a defensive line like this. We've obviously got Myles Garrett. We had a Michael Dean Perry. We've had guys come through here, but not like this. Not four guys, especially Za'Darius and Myles, playing together with Tomlinson, and we also got Harris. It's exciting. It's really exciting to think what you get choked up. Yeah, it's so exciting what you can do in secondary, as we know. But with that defensive line, it does bring a lot of excitement. Tony, now you've had a chance to sleep. Now you've had a chance to get some rest. I think the breakout player this year is actually not the Darius Smith. I think it's Elijah Moore. I think Elijah Moore is going to have a very, very, very big year for the Browns.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's shown it in flashes. I mean, the lack of playing time in New York kind of killed him and a couple injuries. But what he's shown when he's played last year, the year before, the preseason, he is an explosive athlete. He's going to get all those snaps in the slot. And against the Cincy team that plays a good amount of zone, I expect the slot to be kind of that easy outlet, find the soft spots, get Deshaun some easy completions.
For those who can remember, it reminds me a lot of Eric Metcalf, where Metcalf was more of a running back wide receiver. Obviously, Elijah Moore's a receiver, but you're going to see him in the backfield. You're going to see him making plays. D. Blair, media is clearly an intention of covering us. D. Blair, there's a lot of excitement for a lot of different teams. I have learned this throughout time. It's okay the national media is not covering us. It's okay. It is really not that big a deal. For all the teams we play in the North, Tony, I always have the most confidence against the Bengals. I always feel like we do well against the Bengals. I don't have any different feelings today. How are your thoughts heading into this game with Joe Burrow and the rest of the Bengals' talented wide receiver group?
I think it's got the potential to be a really good one. I mean, they got that electric wide receiver room. There's the quarterback matchup. There's Myles Garrett. There's like a lot of talent all over the field. Two of the teams that, I mean, I know that the national media is not giving us the recognition, but two teams that have division championship aspirations and higher than that, honestly. So it's going to be a big one. It's going to be exciting. And starting off the divisional game, I mean, you can't really afford to come out slow.
No, you can't. Pete Kennedy, thank you for the badge. It is much appreciated. That's Pete Kennedy 0. I did thank you. Throw them forward. Yeah. I'm Hop 41. Browns do better as a sleeper team. They really do, D. Blair. I think it's better off that they get under the radar right now. There's been so much attention. Even Baker and OBJ, I'm exhausted from that, and that was 2 seasons ago. I think it's very, very nice that we're kind of under the radar this year. Do you know, something that is nice too today, Tony, that is going unrecognized, but we can now talk about it, is Hopkins is in, York is out. I know there's some worry about Hopkins, but I'm just nothing against the young man York, but it's glad to get him out of here.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't have that to worry today. I feel better about the kicking game. It's still unknown, but I feel better. How do you feel today going about special teams for the Browns?
I mean, I think we kind of sacrificed a little bit of like the risk in those 58 yarders we saw in week 1, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Hopkins doesn't really have that in him.
Right.
But what we're getting is more stability. So anything 40 under should be a lock. Anything 50 under should be almost a lock. Now, when you get 50 plus, it's kind of a toss-up. So when we're trying to get those late down the field, sneak in a 55-yarder, that's probably not going to happen. So we need to make sure that we take care of more business than that so that we don't put ourselves in a spot where we need a 55, 58-yarder to win the game.
Noah Stefanski, I don't think it would have been a thing anyways.
Yeah.
Stefanski does like to go for 4th downs, especially when it's that far out. So in either case, I actually think it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that I think they were going to try those kicks anyways. I think Tony hit it. I think anything 47 and under, I think that's the number. It's like 47, 48 yards and under. Hopkins is pretty good. Anything above that's not going to happen. Again, in Cleveland, I don't even know if you want to do that anyways with the win. So I think going forward is going to be fine. This is where Tony and I split. We don't split screens. We split opinions sometimes. I am very nervous about Stefanski. I know he's a great offensive play caller. I'm worried about him and in-game management and also managing other parts of the team, defense, special teams. Big season for him, obviously. I am not as confident. How are you feeling about Kevin Stefanski heading into 2023, bud?
I mean, I'm very confident in him. I feel like this is the best offense he's had by far, and he's been a top 10 offense, whether that was in Minnesota with Case Keenum and Kirk Cousins or whether that was with us with Baker and Jacoby. He's been able to put up results with very lackluster offenses. He's got weapons now. So I think that creativity is going to be shown on full force. We're not going to just see that ground and pound under center. We're going to see some shotgun runs. We're going to see some RPOs. Going to see more of like a spread offense. But it's going to really let Stefanski show his creativity. And as long as he doesn't try to get too cute, but we see that even the defending champs won't learn from that because, unfortunately, you got to think outside the box to get to that next level. Just on Thursday night, Andy Reid called a fourth down play or a third down play where they had the quarterback come under center and then run a reverse off it. If that would have happened in a Browns game, we'd be calling for Stefanski's job. They're not going to call for Andy Reid's job, so we need to have a little patience when it comes to some weird stuff because that kind of has to be how we get to the next level in creativity, but I'd like to keep those limited for sure.
I'm off 41. I'm very excited about Zadarius Smith. I don't know how you can't be. You can't double team both.
No.
And Zadarius Smith looked very, very good coming into the season. So in his preseason games, whenever he played, he was a presence. You can feel his authority on the field. So it's exciting. I think the Browns actually have a legitimate, real weapon in defensive line. And honestly, I think Tomlinson and Shelby Harris are competent defensive tackles.
Yeah.
We haven't had competent defensive tackles. Sorry, Jordan Elliott. Sorry for the rest of the gang. I mean, they aren't good. So to bring someone in like that too, I think makes the defensive line is just so improved. I think it's actually going to make the linebackers better too, not just defensive line. Everyone gets better. Hurst, I know a lot of people like Hurst, but Tomlinson is where it's at, and I think Shelby Harris being a veteran too.
Yeah.
All right, so we did a whole 9 minutes, and we didn't talk about, I think, the best player on the team, Nick Chubb. With everything that's going on, how do you feel about Nick Chubb? Obviously, we love him. Is Nick Chubb still going to get his carries like we want him to, Tony, do you think, with everything that's going on with the offense?
I think Nick Chubb is going to see an uptick in carries because for the first time in his career, there's no man right behind him. It's Jerome Ford, and we haven't seen a whole lot from Jerome Ford. I'm sure he's capable, but it's Nick Chubb's show now. They've been saving him all these years, keeping the miles off his legs. I think we're going to see the most Nick Chubb we've ever seen in terms of like carries. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to be strictly a running team because I think we're going to pass a little bit more than we did last year, but we should see at least like 18 Nick Chubb carries today. That would be my guess.
Yeah, so good morning, KMAC. I think Chubb is going to vary in games. There is no more, obviously Hunt with Chubb. That's a very good point. Jerome Ford's a big mystery. I don't know how else to put it. I don't feel horrible about it, but I don't feel easy. I'm very nervous about how he's going to play this year. Jerome Ford is going to see some carries at some point. MVP season, I'm assuming you're regarding either Garrett or Chubb. Let me ask you at the end of the day, I guess we should do it. I mean, what do we really think of Watson? Is this a Pro Bowl season, Tony?
I'd hope so because the Pro Bowl's a very low. Actually, I would not hope so because then that means we failed. We didn't go to the Super Bowl. So let's hope no. But in terms of like making it, I would hope because the Pro Bowl is kind of a low floor nowadays. However, the AFC quarterbacks there's so many. I'm not really looking for necessarily like a milestone or an achievement. As long as we can go out there, he looks good, he plays well, he puts up, I don't even care about the numbers, but he's efficient and he makes the right plays, limits turnovers. That's all I can really ask out of him.
I think he's going to have a solid season.
Yeah, me too.
I asked the Pro Bowls because it's not going to be easy to make a Pro Bowl
No.
in the AFC, as you mentioned.
Oh, there's too many.
There's a lot of good quarterbacks in there, but I do think he's going to have a good season. Today's key for me in this game is put pressure on Burrow.
Yep.
Put as much pressure on Burrow as possible. really force the Bengals to do things that they don't like to do, which is being uncomfortable. The Browns have done a nice job. Outside of his first 2 games really ever, back in 2020, where Burrow played, I thought he played well in both games. Really, Tony hasn't wowed. He hasn't had that wowing game. So I have confidence coming in this game against Burrow. But let's keep him in the box. Cincinnati last year came out slow. Let's hope that happens again. And I think that's the biggest thing. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Put as much pressure on Burrow as possible. That's my key today.
Yeah.
Just keep putting pressure on him.
Yeah, definitely, because what we don't want is those talented receivers to win the game on their own. Our DBs are great, and I've got confidence that they'll lock them up, but they're going to make a play eventually if you give Joe Burrow time in the pocket. So if he gets time, play after play, one of those times Chase is going to get hit for a big play. And if we can just limit, we're not going to stop Chase and Higgins from having good days. They're good players. We can't let them get them in bunches. We need them a nice 5-yard gain, 6-yard gain. We can't let them just march down the field in 3 plays because of easy ones. And that's huge in the D-line. If they can limit his time, then there's really not much of a chance for a home run ball.
I agree. And I think finally the key thing to the Browns is the turnover battle. They usually do well in this game with the Bengals, but obviously don't put the ball on the carpet. If the ball's on the carpet for the Bengals, scoop it up. Do those simple things. I actually think that's what it comes – I just think the pressure on Burrow's everything. I just get the feeling if they put pressure like they have in the past, they put a lot of pressure on him on Halloween here in Cleveland. If they can do that again, I think everything will be okay. Run, Chubb, pressure, Burrow. Yeah, I agree. I think Chubb's needs to get his carries. It'll be interesting to see today. The weather is very, I would say, okay. It's not sunny. It's cloudy. There's some wind, but not a lot, like under 10. And it's not going to rain. So it's a pretty good track today for the Browns and the Bengals. Prediction time. I say Browns win 24-17. This is the one team Stefanski does well with. This is the one team that he always handles well. They play well against Burrow. I say 24-17 Browns.
Yeah, I'll go 28-24 Browns. I think it's going to be a little more high scoring, but I like the Browns today too.
I think the only reason why I'm going under is the Browns always seem to do well against Burrow. And I think the line will keep pressure on. So I'm sure the over-under has got to be around high 40s. I would take the under. I actually think today, I think this Browns defense is legit. I'm not just saying it. That's how much, Tony, I like this defense.
Yeah, me too. I think a big thing, they got Orlando Brown from the Chiefs at left tackle. So he's going to help. The pressure is not going to be as good in the past because they got a little bit of help at tackles. But they still have Jonah Williams, and now they're moving him back to right tackle. And he's been awful. Miles has had massive days against him. I expect Orlando Brown to get mainly Miles all day. And then Zadarius will have Jonah Williams on the other side. And I think Zadarius needs to win against Jonah Williams or whoever's matched up against him. They need to win because he is the weak link when it comes to tackles.
There you go. Tony Camino there. I'm Andy Dillon here. Let's go Browns. Let's bring home a victory. We'll be here all throughout the week on the YouTube channel, Believe in the Land, and BelieveInTheLand.com. Get excited.
Finally.
Maybe pour some Baileys in that coffee.
Yep.
And let's get ready, or do the Bloody Mary thing. Whatever your cocktail choice is. Mine is always a good Baileys and coffee. I love Bloody Marys too, though. Do you have a cocktail choice in the early morning, Tony, when you're tailgating?
Early morning, whatever's around, honestly.
Spoken like a true kid, just being young and 20.
Yeah,
20. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, just needing something cold in the mouth.
Exactly.
Have a good day. Go Browns!